The head coach of the UNLV Rebels, Bobby Hauck, in his 5th year in charge of that UNLV program. Coach, how you doing today?
Yeah, I'm doing great, guys. I appreciate you having me on.
Great to have you with us. Speaking of programs on the rise, you took UNLV to a bowl game last year, created a lot of excitement in Las Vegas, have encountered some struggles this year, much like BYU. I mean, the Cougars have seen their fair share of difficulties. For UNLV football, what has been the biggest struggle that you have faced this year, Coach?
Well, they have more wins than we do, so we shouldn't be too comparative there. We've cratered a little bit from a high of 7 wins and winning 5 in the conference last year. But we're a little bit like them. We've had a lot of injuries and a lot of casualties in terms of guys we were counting on not being out there for us for a good part of the year. And it's always something that you struggle with and you have to fight through. And it's easy to say next man up, but particularly for us, the next man up isn't as good as the guy in front of him, or he'd have been there. So we've had to deal with some of that, and we just have not played very well for stretches of games, and it's ended up costing us. We haven't been able to get over the hump and win.
Yeah, it's definitely always difficult when you face adversity and the injury bug. Coach, I was the last part of the team to play UNLV in 2010 for a while. And it was always just a sense of a small rivalry with UNLV. It was an opponent that we were very familiar with. With the absence of these two teams playing, has the perception changed at all with how you guys view BYU as a program?
It's interesting not being in the same conference and not playing every year. Those things definitely go away. The guys on our team don't have really any familiarity with it. That was my first year here. We were not a very good football team, as you remember, and played a lot of true freshmen. And in fact, we played 14 true freshmen that game. Yep. We started 6 or 7 of them. By the time they were juniors, they were all beat out. That's where we were at the time. So we've upgraded a little bit in terms of our stature and our ability level, and but in terms of the teams knowing each other, there's not much of that right now. But BYU has a strong, there's a large Mormon population in Las Vegas, and BYU has a lot of followers down here.
I would be remiss to not bring up the relationship that you have established with Bronco Mendenhall as you again renew this Rebels and Cougars rivalry. Coach, how did you first meet Bronco, and when did that football relationship really begin to blossom?
Well, Bronco and I worked together at Northern Arizona back in the mid-'90s when we both were kind of getting into the business, and really enjoyed. I hope you would say the same thing, but I really enjoyed working with Bronco every day, and I just think he's a tremendous coach and a tremendous guy, and I think BYU is really lucky to have him. And he's a guy that we're both pretty focused on what we're doing, so it's not like we spend a lot of time. Neither one of us are phone guys. We don't spend a lot of time on the phone, but we get a chance to catch up here and there, and then. Bronco's wife Holly and I, we were all in college together at the University of Montana, and she is a wonderful lady, and so we have strong ties to the Mendenhalls.
Coach, does that just make you want to win that much more when you face Bronco Mendenhall, just for bragging rights? You don't see him every so often. You don't talk to him, but when you do, you can kind of rub that in his face, like, yeah, dude, beat you twice now.
Well, what's funny is. This is such a people business, and it's a tight circle, and in coaching who the good guys are, and so when you have a chance to beat one of your friends, you feel bad for them, and you know who the good guys are, and so you cheer for the good guys week in and week out, and so there's always a little bit of rub there. You do like to have a chance to win and beat your buddies, but when it comes down to the end of it, you don't like seeing your friends lose.
Right. Coach Bobby Hauck, the head coach of the UNLV Rebels, joining BYU Sports Nation right now. Coach, it's been mentioned a few times by some of the people here in our building and through some of the BYU fan base that you look like Bronco Mendenhall. That you guys, might be long lost brothers.
Bronco Mendenhall is not half as good looking as I am. He can coach me into the. He can outcoach me into the dirt, but he is not half as good. I won't accept that.
Nice.
Yeah, fair. Shots fired, and we love it.
Disrespect me, BYU Sports. That's what the coach said. Don't disrespect me, guys.
No, you gotta remember. I said he can outcoach me right into the ground, but I can't accept the fact that he's as good looking as I am.
I love the honesty.
That is great.
Oh, Coach, you talked yesterday about the type of quarterback that Christian Stewart is, and he's different than Taysom Hill, no doubt about it. He's a mobile gunslinger. Taysom is the true dual threat. Which quarterback is more difficult to prepare for from a coaching standpoint?
Well, it's hard for me to answer the question in regard to Hill, just because we haven't spent any time on that.
Yeah.
We caught some of that film and some of the night games on TV on Thursday nights and Friday nights, cut pieces of those, and obviously he's a darn good football player. But I like Stewart. I think he's a good player. I think he my initial impression on him, watching it on Sunday, was that he throws it well. And then the other thing that as the week is worn on, I'm impressed with his running ability. So, it's nice when you've got a guy like Christian that can come in and be a good player for you in that role. And, obviously when that time comes, it's vitally important, and I think he's done a nice job.
Yeah, Coach, we've really seen Christian evolve these past few weeks just as a pocket passer. Been really impressed with him. What are some of the things that you guys have to do to stop him this week?
Well, quarterbacks generally play well when the guys around them play well, right. And they tend to get a lot of the focus. But when they're having good games, the guys around them are playing well. And BYU's got a good-looking physical. They're a very physical football team on both sides of the ball. They like to play. Just the matchups in terms of they've got a big, mature team, and we've got to play well. We've got to get on in terms of stopping them. We've got to control our gaps and get off blocks and make plays, and all those things that teams do that win games. And they're going to try their hardest not to let us do that. And they've got the ability to beat people, has been evidenced.
The head coach of the UNLV Rebels football team, Bobby Hauck, on BYU Sports Nation. Much like Christian Stewart, Blake Decker is a kid that went on an LDS mission, was a JUCO transfer, and now he's getting his shot for UNLV. What kind of a quarterback is Blake, and what does he do to help your team?
Well, Blake's similar to Christian. He's a mobile guy, throws a nice ball, is still a little bit, I would say, in the infancy of his development in terms of being a well-rounded guy that understands everything about the game. But he's grown through the year, and he's been a little up and down at times. But when he's good, he's pretty dang good.
Fair enough. And the thing is, I think BYU, they're particularly interested in Blake because at one point he was at BYU and now he's at UNLV. Have you talked to him at all about the transition and the up and downs that he's gone through in his football career? And if so, what can you tell us?
Yeah, really not so much about his time at BYU and that stuff. So, we're kind of more just focused on what he's got to do to try to help his team have a chance. And, we're going to have to play darn near perfect to have a chance in that game on Saturday evening, and certainly he's going to have to play darn near perfect to give us a chance.
Coach, it's supposed to be cold and snowy and rainy from what I've been told. How have you guys prepared for the weather with such beautiful sunshine that you guys get down there?
Well, I got a lot of pull, so I've brought in some bad weather for practice today. I don't know what you do. We talk about it, and we have to face the facts. I was at Montana, and we always felt like we had an advantage when we got people up there in November and December that were not cold weather guys, and coming down here, it's an accepted fact. We've got warm weather guys, and we won at Air Force last year in frigid temperatures, but before that, it had been since something like 1974 or 1978 since UNLV had won a game below below 32 degrees. So UNLV historically has not responded very well to the cold weather, just in terms of record. So it's going to be there, and we have to either deal with it or not. And that kind of comes down to the individual shutting it off and being mentally tough.
Coach, Devontae Boyd and Devontae David are two outstanding receivers for the UNLV football program, so we see a lot of attention being paid to them, and rightfully so. Who is the player on your team that is balling but doesn't receive a whole lot of attention that BYU Sports Nation should be aware of on Saturday?
Well, we have a couple of offensive linemen that are playing very well, and obviously no one knows any of their names at any of the schools. In fact, I would almost, you guys probably know. I was going to say I challenge you two to name off the starting lineup for BYU. They're nameless. They don't want our accolades, and frankly, they just they want to go to work, and that's the way our guys are too. But Brett Boyko has played left tackle for us since he was a freshman, and he's now moved in because of injury. He's had to play some guard for us, and he's a terrific football player.
Coach, we will extend your greetings to Bronco Mendenhall. Probably leave out the fact that you said that you were better looking than him.
No, I'm not going to. I'm going to say I'm going to let him know.
You can tell him, but just say, look, he makes up for it by being a far better coach. You have to make sure you tell him.
And
don't just throw me in the street.
Yeah,
okay.
I'll say the first part. I won't say the last part.
I'll make sure. Yeah, I'll make sure Bronco sends a message your way, whether it be on the phone or email or Twitter or whatever.
Awesome, guys. Hey, I appreciate you having me on, and look forward to seeing you Saturday.
All right, Coach. We'll see you on Saturday at Lavelle Edwards Stadium. Bobby Hauck of the UNLV Rebels